Hello everybody, Billy with Personal Defense Concepts, and welcome to the 2A Cafe. So I recently did a video on my thoughts on carrying with one in the chamber and the importance of carrying with one in the chamber. I had a viewer watch the video and send me an email and say, Billy, I do agree with your reasonings and I completely understand where you're coming from about the importance of carrying with one in the chamber. But as a brand new concealed carrier, I'm a little concerned. Can you please give me some tips on how I can build the confidence and feel safe in carrying with one in the chamber? So I thought I'd do a real quick video about it. The first thing you need is a good quality holster that will completely cover that trigger guard so that there's no way that trigger can be activated by either your finger when you go to retrieve the gun or by any piece of clothing, your cover garment, when you go to put the gun back into the holster or during your normal everyday moving around. Now that you have a good quality holster, I want you to take your carry gun, completely unloaded, no magazine, nothing in the chamber. Pull the trigger so that you have a dead trigger, so that you now know you have a dead trigger. Rack the slide, put that gun in your holster. Walk around for a few hours, all day, whatever it takes. Do this for a week, week and a half, maybe 2 weeks. At the end of each training session, I want you to pull that gun out and see if you can pull the trigger. If it goes click, that trigger was never activated. Therefore showing you that that trigger does not pull itself. Trigger has not been activated. If the trigger has been activated, you will have what's called a dead trigger. Something went wrong. But that really does not happen. Okay, so now you have completed your no magazine carrying around training. Now we're going to introduce an empty magazine into the equation. First of all, you're going to rack your slide so that you do not have a dead trigger. You're going to insert your magazine. You're going to put that in your holster, and you're going to walk around for a few days, a couple of hours, whatever it takes. Some people it takes a little bit longer. That's perfectly fine. The object of this is for you to feel comfortable in carrying with one in the chamber. So you walk around for whatever time it takes. At the end of each training session, you want to take your gun out of the holster, drop the magazine just to be safe, to make sure nothing got in there, point the gun in the safe direction, and see if the trigger's been activated. Again, if it goes click, it was not activated. After you've walked around with an empty magazine, go to a gun store. Get yourself some dummy ammo. Load a couple rounds in your magazine. Insert the magazine. Rack your slide. Put it in your holster. Walk around. Again, the same amount of time, whether it's a couple of hours, a couple of days, or a couple of weeks. At the end of each training session, pull your firearm out. Do you have a dead trigger? No. Pull the trigger. It's dummy ammo. You have now successfully carried a firearm around for whatever amount of time you've carried without activating that trigger. Feeling a little bit more confident now? In the mid-'80s, when the Glock was being introduced to law enforcement agencies across the country, the city of Miami took a Glock 19 with one in the chamber and dropped it out of a helicopter. The gun did not go off. Therefore, reinforcing the gun will not go off without the trigger being activated. And some of you are going to argue, well, what about the SIG 320? The drop safe. Yes. They had an issue with their drop safety. Okay? Don't drop your gun. Don't activate the trigger. the gun will not go off. If we step back and re-examine some more of the FBI crime stats, they say that most gunfights last 3 seconds. A total of 3 shots are fired, and they happen at a distance of 3 yards. So again, I reiterate the need for you to feel confident and comfortable carrying with one in the chamber. 3 seconds is not a long time to pull your gun and get a round into the chamber. Carry with one already in the chamber. Eliminate that one step. Give yourself every advantage you possibly can. Again, ladies and gentlemen, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. But you know, Billy, one of my main concerns is accidental discharges. I keep reading all the high numbers of accidental and negligent discharges that go on in this country. Well, if you take a look at the FBI's crime statistics, one third of all accidental discharges involve children. Children getting a hold of unsecured firearms. Take those numbers out of the equation, and it's a lot less. You ask any police officer, they are always carrying with one in the chamber. Why? Because they must be ready in an instant to react if they need to save their life or save the life of an innocent citizen. So now we've gone over some of the training tips to help you feel a little bit more comfortable in carrying with one in the chamber. I've got the slide off of a Glock 19 here, and I'd like to just show you how they actually operate. Right here is a striker block, and it's exactly what you would think it is. It is to block the striker. This right here being the striker or the firing pin. What happens when you pull the trigger, the striker block will move out of the way to allow the firing pin to hit the primer on the casing on the live round in order for it to go off. So without pulling that trigger, without that trigger being activated, the striker block cannot move out of the way of the firing pin to engage against the casing. If you like these videos, please like and subscribe. Follow us on YouTube, Rumble, and follow me on my Facebook page. Thanks for dropping into the 2A Cafe for today's quick tips. If there's something you'd like to talk about, maybe a product you've heard about, want to know if I know anything about it, something you'd like to see me review, shoot me a message. We'll see what we can talk about. And always remember, whether training or in self-defense, be the predator, not the prey.